You're listening to the Gab Street Podcast, Columbus, Ohio's #1 podcast for underground talent. Every week we have new conversations with interesting individuals who contribute to the Columbus economy and its lively culture. You may find just what you're looking for right in your backyard. Let's get right into it.
You know, between your job and your passion, or your job and kind of your personal life to a degree. Now the emphasis is on every fucking millennial. It's like, focus on your brand. What's your brand? What's your personal brand? How do you fucking quantize and make your life palatable for people to consume? And somehow, like, it really is becoming about making personality a product and figuring out how to market things through just personalities. It's not about like, okay, we want this athlete to wear Nike stuff because so many people watch what he does because he's a great athlete. Now you don't have to be a great athlete. You don't have to be a singer. You can just be someone on the internet that talks and people like.
Right.
And companies will be like, take our shit, please. Sell our shit to people. That's like the new game now. And it's very weird for people that didn't grow up with social media. And there is a big gap there of like able to, I don't want to say make it, but like, I don't know, people that like came from the world of like, okay, well, you could try and hustle it out at your creative career or small business or restaurant or whatever you're trying to do, or you could just go the college, corporate job, safe kind of route.
Yeah.
And now things are so much different. I feel like our generation has just really lost a lot of faith in the idea of a corporate job and stuff like that. And as a result too, or maybe it's a cause, but corporations have lost all faith in like, they don't appreciate 20-year employees anymore or 10-year employees anymore. Like, it used to be a big deal. Like, if you worked for GE and you worked there for 20 years and retired, like, you were fucking set. And, like, you could legitimately retire. And, like, GE took care of you because you gave them 20 years of your life. But now it doesn't really work like that. And so, like, once I kind of realized that and that jobs can just replace you, I was like, well, fuck it. I am just going to work for myself. Because, like, when I had a good corporate job, I was still stressed about money.
Right.
So I could just be stressed about money on my own and wake up when the fuck I want to and not have to go out in the snow on a shitty winter day if I feel like it. But it's all in my hands now. And now I got to make money on my ideas. And that's really fucking painful sometimes because sometimes my ideas suck. Sometimes it's like, yo, I got this great idea. And it's not a great idea.
Nope, didn't work.
And then I got to sit and chew on that for a while. It's
right.
just like, it's like a piece of like really bad cut beef, like a bad cut of beef that's like cooked wrong and you're just sitting there chewing on it for 45 fucking minutes. Like, that's what a bad idea is like. But
I've never heard that description. It's very apt.
You just got to chew on it. You're just like, yeah, that sucked. That sucked. I mean, you got to move on to it quick. That's why I do things so frequently. Because it just helps me forget the bad stuff. Right. It's like,
you're not dwelling on it. It's like, yo.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh fuck, I gotta wait 6 months to have another shot or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, well, we'll try and get them next week. You know what I mean? Or try and get them in this city or that city or whatever.
Yep.
So
yeah, dude. Yeah, that was like I woke up one day, man, like working my 9 to 5, in 2012, and was like, yo, like I'm broke now. I hate my fucking job.
What was your job?
I worked all kinds of jobs. I was like, originally started out working in warehouses, just like manual labor shit, loading boxes, unloading shit. Worked construction. Worked for T-Mobile selling cell phones, sold used cars for a little bit. And then my last job, I started, I was installing cable for Time Warner. And I hated being an installer, dude, because like,
any job where you have to go into people's houses, dude. I would fucking hate.
Yeah, it was great, like giving me perspective on like, everybody is literally like trapped in their own world, you know what I'm saying? So that was a great thing, just being able to meet people from every walk of life. But then I was like, all right, man, I can't do this anymore. So then I started working, like I got into where I was like customer service for the installers. So I was like tethered. I had like a headset and I was like tethered to my desk and like I had like asked to go to the bathroom and shit. And I was like, man, fuck this, dude. So like I woke up one day, I was just like, man, like I'm broke now and I hate my life.
Right.
I dread Mondays on Friday, knowing that I gotta wake up and go back to work. So I was like, man, screw this, dude. Like, I'm just gonna do my own thing, and if I'm broke, at least I'm doing something that I enjoy, and I'm happy living with, waking up every day, But you're right, man. Like that, like you trade that shit off, man. Because now, your bills depend on your ideas and the work that you do. So it's like, it's something that you love so much. But when that shit doesn't work, dude, like...
Yeah, or when your fucking tank's just empty.
Right.
You're like, yo, I don't got any ideas.
Right,
Like, I don't got, you know what I mean? Like, thank God for monthlies and, like, reoccurring shows. You know what I mean? But it does become very... it's weird when you do it a lot, because then people expect it out of you a lot and stuff like that. And I've always struggled with trying to balance being an artist and do the promotion, show side, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, finding that balance has been the hardest, I feel like, because I didn't know how much of, like, your brain has a certain, like, creativity part and that's literally it. It's just a creativity part. It's not really an artistic part, but it's just creative. And a lot of people have to use all their creative juices at their job. Like, all their just extra thinking shit they have in their brain, they got to use it at their job. When they get home, they're too tired to do anything, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of people that have to use it, on other people or in their emotional life or relationship life and stuff like that. But everybody has a certain amount of it, I feel like. It's just extra gas in your tank that you can use and burn to get shit done. And it's like, I didn't realize that I didn't have, like, an artistic side of my brain. There's just a big creative side, but that creativity can be used on a lot of shit. It's just whatever you're putting your energy towards.
Right.
So I was using a lot of my energy towards relationships that weren't working and a bunch of extra shit in my life that really wasn't serving my career and what I was trying to do, like, artistically in general. And so that's what I'm, like, trying to change this year. It's just kind of like channeling more energy and getting more organized and focusing on stuff. Because if you're a capable person, you can also, with the thing of, you can get a ton done, but if you're also a capable person, you can do a lot of fucking damage in a short period of time and really wreck things quickly too. Because, like, you can be capable and fast moving in the wrong direction, and then all of a sudden you fucking crashed. Right. And so that's what I found I was doing. I was like, oh shit, like, things are going good fast, and they're also fucking crashing and burning really fast too. So I was just, like, trying to learn. And it's all stuff that, like, you can't go to school for. No one teaches you booking. Right. No one teaches you how to throw shows. Yeah, right. Like, you just do it, and you just talk to other people that do it and try and figure it out. But yeah, it's just so much stuff that every day it's just like, it's a new situation. And I'm like, well, never thought I'd be here. Never thought I'd see this. And it's just like, what do I do now? And there's not really anywhere to go for it. But that's the exciting part about it. That's why it's not like showing up for Monday and you know exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
And it's either going to be ignorable or bad. Yeah. Like, it's either just enough that you're like, yeah, work didn't suck, so that was cool, or it's bad.
Right.
But man, that health insurance though.
Oh yeah.
I miss that. Yep. I miss that shit. My teeth miss it.
Taxes coming out and shit.
Oh yeah. I don't even know what the fuck to do about my taxes.
Dude, I've been behind on taxes for a while, man.
Yeah, I'm real behind right now.
Yeah, that shit sucks.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know what I made last year.
Right.
Like, I don't really know what... There were so many cash things and stuff like that. And then I don't want to say, like, I don't want to, like, tell the IRS what I've been doing, because they're like, well, wait a minute. And then they look at my Instagram and they see all my flyers. And they're like, I'm not trying to do that. But that's
IRS
also...
is on Instagram.
That's why I'm trying, bro, believe it. They are everywhere. Man. The government wants their money. That's the only way they make their money, is just by taking people's money. So it's like, they've got eyes and ears out there, believe it. But it's like, I don't know. That's why this year I'm getting very, very serious about, like, starting an LLC and, like, getting everything on the up and up, because before I start making any kind of real money, like, right now, if the IRS were to really come down on me, it would be something under $10,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they wanted to, like, really, really fuck me over. Because, like, I know I haven't made that much money, so there wouldn't be that much money to tax.
Right.
But, like, once it gets to a point to where I've got, like, a booking company and thousands are rolling in, I don't want 4 years down the road the IRS to be like, hey, we need that $260,000.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, but I don't have that. And they're like, oh, that's crazy, because we need it.
Right.
And then that's the end of the conversation. And you're either going to fucking jail or whatever. Like, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Because that shit happens to rappers all the time, and musicians all the time, and athletes and stuff like that. They just make a fuck ton of money in, like, a period of 3 years, and their tax bracket goes up, and then they're not making that same money. And then that's conveniently when the IRS is like, yeah, we need all that. You're just like, fuck.
That money you don't have anymore, like, Yeah, we're gonna need you to come in somewhere.
And that's why you see like actors and shit in Life Alert commercials and stuff. that's literally it. When you see like a random actor in some commercial for an insurance company or something like that, that's what it is. It's like, yeah, they needed the work. You know what I mean? They had some bills or grandkids need to go to college or whatever the fuck. But that's the hard part about entertainment and the stuff I try to remind myself of going into the entertainment world of like, it's so easy to be distracted by the smoke and mirrors of it. And it's so easy, especially when you're an artist too. You have all these big dreams of being the next Drake or whatever the fuck, and it's like, it's a weird life though. Once you really see people that are like working musicians and touring all the time, you're like, damn, it's a rough life. It's really hard. It's meant to look fun and entertaining and cool and stuff like that, but it is a job just like anything else. It's a cool job sometimes, it's a fun job, it's a flashy job or whatever, but it's still a fucking job, man.
Yeah, you and I both listen to Super Duty Tough Work, so we kind of...
Yeah, I listen to it as well. I love that podcast. I fucking love it.
Fucking great.
Big shout out to Al and Logic and whatnot.
Yeah, I just bought our usual co-host Stay Crypto sweatshirt from them, so big ups to Print and Logic over there. But
was this like a play? Like, did you want us both on here for a reason, or do you just book 2 guests at a time now because you're sick of people canceling on you? Because I thought that's what you were doing. Is just like he just books 2 people in case one asshole cancels, so he still got one there that he can do a podcast with. I figured that's what it was.
See, the audience doesn't know that. No, I'm just kidding. No, what I booked this as an interview of you with him co-hosting it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. He did a post like, yo, anybody want to co-host? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'll co-host, dude. And he was like, all right, man, I got Sam this Saturday. You good for that? And I'm like, yeah, that works, dude. So, or Friday. Is it Friday?
It's Friday.
Right?
I've done, I think, a couple podcasts with you.
Yeah, before. This is, you haven't been on in 33 episodes.
No, I'm talking about with him.
Oh, with him.
Yeah, because I remember I interviewed you one time on my podcast, but I think there was one other situation where we were on a podcast together. But I always enjoy doing shit, because, like, for a lot of people that don't know, Josh is, whatever success I do have, a lot of it is he's responsible for.
That's 2 of us.
Yeah, like a lot of opportunities early on that I got. You were one of the first people in Columbus to fuck with me and to give me a shot and stuff like that. And so, I don't know. And I've always admired what you do on the event side and shit too. You know what I mean? Like 2x2 is a cool fucking thing. Like, and I remember the Knock 5 events and shit too. Like, it was all, I don't know. You kind of laid a blueprint for me on, like, I didn't know that, like, a motherfucker could just throw shows. It's like, yeah, I had an idea and I just decided to start throwing shows. And I was like, what? And I kind of knew you could do that, but I didn't know that you could do it, like, on the level that you were doing it. Like, when I went to the break, I was fucking blown away. Just the idea that you could hear Ninth Wonder for an entire night. You know what I mean? That was a fucking dream to me. Like, that was insane to me. Because I grew up kind of in the country and in Lancaster. Like, my parents were divorced, so I spent some time in Lancaster and a lot of time in the country as well. And I was listening to all this stuff in high school, and I was, like, a big hip-hop head in high school, but, like, I didn't know that there was, like, a real place you could go to. I knew it existed somewhere in Brooklyn or, you know what I mean, somewhere, but, like, I didn't know there was some just cool shit in Columbus like that. And also a ton of rappers got a lot of practice on the microphone at the break and stuff like that. So...
yeah. Appreciate that.
Big ups to you, man.
Oh yeah, likewise, dude.
It
was good. He like, it just kind of randomly happened. Like, Cole and I were on talking about 2x2 not long ago on this, and I was like, I've always been intrigued by, like, the podcast shit. You know what I'm saying? And thought about it for myself or for clients or for 2x2 and shit. So when he asked it, I was like, oh man, like, yeah, I've been wanting to sit down and talk to Sam anyway. So it felt perfect. You know what I mean?
Podcasts are great, man. Everybody should have a fucking podcast. Like, anybody that's doing shit out here, if you do something interesting and you've already made a little bit of a name yourself doing it, you need to be talking about it and kind of explaining. I always looked at it as like the special features on a DVD, like the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm that type of fan. I watch the special features. Like, if I like something, I'm a completionist. I want to get all their shit. I want to have all the special editions of it. I want to, you know what I mean? Like, I want the whole total thing. And it's really hard for artists in this day and age to kind of, well, it's easier than ever, but I think so few people do it and do things like box sets or kind of like compilation albums or live albums and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that because it's so easy to make that content, that like people are still just playing the let's catch up with Spotify game, and let's have enough current music and be always going all the time that we can catch up with these algorithms and get noticed and stuff like that. But I think podcasts are cool because they kind of allow people to slow down and think for a while about the artist and not just for 3 minutes during the song. And it's cool to learn stuff. It's cool to like see, because I think that it's such a crucial thing going into how our culture is, and what I was talking about before with, you know, like your own personal brand and selling yourself. Like the people that are really going to win out here, because everyone's fucking talented. Like right now, me as a rapper, there are 4,700 18-year-olds that are all better than me. They all make better music than me. They write better shit than me. They're more clever than me. Their brains don't have as many drugs in them as mine has. You know, they're gonna win. They're gonna beat me at that game. But it doesn't matter because we're not playing that. That game's not being played anymore. The who's the better rapper game. Right. It's who's got the personality game. People that are likable, like that's Cardi B in a nutshell. Yeah. Cardi B is a famous musician because people liked her personality. Guap Dad 4000. He's already Grammy nominated, and he's been rapping for like 2 years. But he had a super real personality that people gravitated towards just as a human being. So then when he started putting his thoughts into rhyme over great fucking James Delgado beats, people were like, yeah, we'll buy this. Like, we'll get into this because we already know who you are. But it's like so many artists and stuff from back in the day would just get by on their music, and then fans could kind of fill in the blanks. And maybe you got a magazine interview somewhere or, you know, whatever. But now it's like, I mean, I just listened to Drake talk for 2.5 fucking hours to Elliot Wilson and them. And, like, it was a great interview. He talked about shit I've never heard him talk about before. And it was, like, just him for 2.5 hours talking. It wasn't a soundbite. It wasn't anything like that. So, and it made me like Drake a little bit more. Right. You know what I mean? Because I was like, damn, this dude, it just lets you see that people are people. And they're more than just the sum of their creative output. Yeah. Because it is easy to write people off that way. And I feel like Joe Budden's really responsible for like the pushback of that. Of like, Joe Budden was good about, and like guys like Nori, who were playing, they were in the game, they were rappers, they were competing in the music industry. Then they kind of stepped back, still doing their thing, but then they decided to become media. And that's the main difference between hip hop and so many other genres of music, is that hip hop became its industry. And in rock music, the shit is the fucking same as it was 40 years ago. Like, the way bands get signed, record labels, managers, all that shit, exactly the fucking same. Maybe the numbers are a little different and the contracts look a little bit different, you know, because of digital stuff now. But, like, there is no rock music equivalent to Jay-Z, of somebody who, like, was a rapper, then became a company, then became a management company. Right. And then, like, really started doing, like, paying off $17 million of Lil Wayne's debt. You know, like getting Meek Mill better lawyers. Like a dude that like really is looking out for rappers and like people that are like his peers. Because I feel like Jay-Z doesn't see himself as above a lot of people. I feel like when he's in a room with Rick Ross and all these other people, like, yeah, maybe in the back of his mind he knows like I'm the fucking Godfather. But I think that he legitimately cares about these people because he sees them as peers, because he went through what they've been through.
Right. And now he's just in a position to be able to help out and lend that hand.
Exactly. Right. And, you know, same with someone like Nipsey Hussle. Same with someone, I mean, there have always been disruptors in rock music. Radiohead is a good example when they came out with In Rainbows. You know, that was a seismic shift in the music industry because they were the first huge band to be like, hey, our next album, you can get it for free if you want to, or you can pay us whatever you want, but you just got to get it on our website. And they made $12 million in like fucking 3 days. Damn, and they've never made that much off an album. Like, very few bands have ever made that much off their album. Yeah. And plenty of people paid, but plenty of people got it for free. You know, or someone like Jimmy Buffett. I mean, Jimmy Buffett's arguably the most independent or important independent artist of all time. He was the first artist to step out and start his own record label. And I don't know that. Yeah, and that's why there's fucking Margaritaville margarita machines now. That's why there's a Margaritaville restaurant and Margaritaville t-shirts and shit.
I've been to that shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he was the first to really like corporatize his own shtick and his own thing.
Take notes.
Yeah, so Or like someone like ICP. ICP is another example too. They were one of the first bands. Them and like Acoustic Hookah, Grateful Dead, of course, too. But like bands that started throwing their own festivals.
Right.
And things like that, and now that's bled over into EDM. You know, like Lost Lands is such a huge festival; it makes millions and millions of dollars. But that's run by, I think, Excision. I think he's the DJ that runs that himself. Basically, I'm sure it's not all him. It's probably a team of 50 fucking people with him.
Right.
But yeah, I have no idea what the original question was. I was just ranting.
I don't think
Sorry.
we did like an intro yet or anything. Right?
Yeah, we haven't done an intro.
I was gonna ask if we were gonna
Welcome to a podcast with me.
I usually add it in later if something like that happens, so.
Yeah, that's true.
It totally works. But about 15 minutes ago, we were talking about kind of the idea of retuning your priorities for 2020 and really making sure, like how you said that your energy can go the wrong way and it can go the wrong way really fast. And I wanted to know what the manifestation of you retuning your energy this year is going to look like, and what plans you have for this year.
So there's an album in the works.
Oh yes,
My actual first album. I'm really excited about it because I'm like I'm nowhere near close to being done, but I'm close to being done writing it. It's the first project I've ever done that I still don't know what the title is going to be. And the album hasn't like told me what it is yet. It hasn't told me what it's going to end up being. But beat-wise, it's my favorite batch of beats I've ever had. Yeah. And I'm really excited about it. And then I plan on focusing touring with that this summer. That there's definitely going to be I'm going to try another 2 Inner Gang tours. But then the other half of that coin is the booking company. I'm just straight up consolidating all my resources that I've had with booking and venues and all the shit I've already been doing. But I'm just actually going to hire some help and get a company together and really start getting serious about it, because I just started watching a lot of YouTube videos with booking agents, just like TED Talk type stuff or whatever, little speeches at South by Southwest, and all these motherfuckers had the exact same story as like me or him. It was just like, yeah, fucking hated my job. I either started throwing shows or I was in a band, and then I started booking our little tours around the state, or I was, in a band and people just asked me to throw a show for them and blah, blah, blah. But none of the motherfuckers went to college. They all were just dudes that were just sort of in the music industry or like the local scene or whatever. And then it just grew from there.
Right.
And they all just did exactly what I was already doing. I just didn't have a dedicated client list like most agencies have. And so that's really all I was missing. Because it got to a point where, it's not really a secret now, people kind of know, but like, it got to a point where there's 5 rappers a day from all over the state hitting me up wanting to get on a show. And that's why I had to take Declassified to every 2 weeks, because I just literally needed a place to put all these fucking rappers. But then it got to the point that I'm dealing with so many assholes that like, they beg me to be on a show, then they cancel the night of. Or they're super pushy, or they're threatening me because I'm not getting on a show fast enough, or just dudes asking for favors. So then I was like, well, I need to thin the herd out a little bit. So I was just like, you know what? Here's my fee. If you want on a fucking show, here's what it is. And it'll guarantee you one show, and then it's a one-time fee. And then if I like you after that, you don't have to pay again, but we'll keep talking. Because people know, I think, what it looks like when I fuck with an artist and when I really like an artist and I want to keep working with them. You could see that I'm sort of always in the background just being like, and here's another show. And like, just because like there are people I want to see win. So I want to do whatever I can to make their shit go easier and stuff like that. But there's also a lot of people that it's like, I just don't know you. But they may be dope though, just because I'm not going to operate solely off who I know or who I like. And so there have been plenty of people that have paid the fee, and I see them and they're dope, and then I fuck with them now, and then they don't ever have to pay again and stuff. But it really just started with that, because I was like, I'm giving a lot of time and energy and resources, taking away from my music and the shit that I enjoy doing, to put other people on shows and to make other people's careers better and shit. And I just started doing the math of the amount of artists I booked in 2018. And I was like, oh shit, it's like approaching 300. And so I was like, fuck this. I'm sick of like making everyone else's life so much easier, that I was like, you know what? I'm going to just do this in a legit way to where it is less about like, come on, Sam, you're my dude, and more about like, no, like you could hire me to do this and it'll get done the right way.
Yeah.
So yeah, the booking company is a big thing. A bunch of people have reached out to help me with this, by the way, and I have all your names written down. I'm just trying to organize a time to get everybody kind of under one roof, or at least organize people to, you know, who's going to be on the promotion side, who's going to be on the event building side, who's going to be on the booking side, because that's kind of how I'm breaking it up, because that's sort of what I do now. So I was like, okay, if I need help, I need to figure out what it is I actually do first, and then what I can start assigning to people or whatever. But it's just when you look at booking specifically, if you can throw events as well and you have the right help and people are motivated, it's a fucking river of money that just gets deeper and wider and bigger. And because I don't plan on just booking hip hop, I want to book metal and punk and emo and fringe genres and synthwave and all types of stuff. But that's kind of what I want to do, is be a booking agency that can give these fringe acts, or like, say you're just some, you know, dude with a guitar and pink hair and you just want to play a bunch of house parties. I want to be the agency that you can pay $100 to, or a couple $100, and we can get you into 8 house shows in the next month or something like that. I just want to basically be able to, because already the people that have bought tours off me and the people that have, like the first couple tours that I was hired for, you know, some of the shows went a little rocky and stuff like that because I was still learning too. But it's gotten to the point that I can pretty much guarantee, it's like, yo, if you pay the fee and you want to get on one of these mini tours, every show isn't going to be 600 people and it's not going to fucking change your life. But like at the beginning of the month, you were in no cities, and then by the end of the month, you were in 4 cities, and you had new fans and sold merch probably in every single one of those. And it's like, nobody else is offering that for the price that I'm offering that for. And it's getting to the point now to where the context, just in Ohio alone, I could probably do, like, if I really wanted to get crazy with it, a 15-date Ohio tour that you'd never have to get an Airbnb for. You could drive back every single night.
Right.
It's never going to cost you more than a fucking tank of gas to get to it and stuff like that. And that is going to drastically change your actual fan base. Because even if in 15 cities you get 3 people like that are actual fans that buy stuff, like that's fucking huge.
Yeah.
To get that done in a month, like when you're a younger artist, like that's that feeling of like what we were talking about, of like I have PTSD from that feeling of like having to go do a show, everybody's kissing your ass and telling you how great you are, and your adrenaline's going and you feel awesome and blah blah blah, and then Monday comes around and you got to go to work and you're like, oh, I'm just like everybody else and I'm not special and I'm not going to make it and I'm not getting anywhere in this career. So that's when I started being like, well, I'm doing 3 things a day just to get it out of the way, just to say, well, at least I've done something towards making it or making my career better. But then, you know, and after 2 months of doing that, you'll realize you're doing like 9 to 10 things a day. And because you start, once you realize that the size of the thing doesn't matter, just do the thing. And you know what I mean? Everybody thinks you have to like only make these perfect power moves, and sometimes it's like just share the fucking flyer, like just share it on Facebook.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's why I started throwing shows more frequently, because you know, you can go back on Monday and you're like, shit, and you feel a million miles away from your goal, or it's just staring at a giant mountain and you're not any closer to the top. But shows are that's the reason I don't like streaming and shit as much. Because like, just because somebody has a bunch of streams on their songs, they're not really winning out here. In fact, if you're an artist who has songs that are getting like 90 to 120,000 on SoundCloud or whatever, and it's like, yo, how the fuck are you monetizing that? Like, yo, you got 120,000 people potentially listening to this music right now, and you're not making anything from it. Like, you're losing more than somebody who has 500 plays, but they go and do a local show and they make some money and they get real fans and shit like that. Like, just because you have the thing and the buzz, it's like, yo, it's what are you doing with the buzz? How are you managing that? And so that's why I would rather get into the booking game and stuff, because I can't offer people advice on how to get their streaming numbers up. I don't know about that. I don't have good streaming numbers, so I don't talk about that. There's plenty of other artists out there that are probably younger than me that can explain it in way easier terms. But with me, it's just like shows are a quantifiable way to see what's really happening. You can see how many fans you get after the show, figure out how much money you made, figure out how much it cost you to do it, and like it's just an easier metric.
We're going to take a quick commercial break to hear a message from our sponsors, Revolter Pictures and Bill Shaft.
Hi, I'm Anthony Cardosi, award-nominated actor for Revolter Pictures. We can make your next commercial. Here's some testimonials from some former losers whose lives we've changed forever.
I've been selling potato blankets for years, but nobody would buy them. They had no idea how great my product was until I stumbled upon Revolter Pictures. They helped me to show the world that my potato blankets are number one.
Wasn't that great? Revolter Pictures makes all kinds of commercials for all kinds of people. Just check out this former loser.
My friends and or family told me that I would never find anyone to make a commercial for my secondhand bread store. But thanks to the guys at Revolter Pictures, my business is through the roof.
Are you still not satisfied? Okay, check out this testimonial.
Before Revolter Pictures, I look like this. Now I look like this.
Revolter Pictures is a group of independent filmmakers who want to bring your vision to life. Find us on Facebook and Instagram, or you can email us at revolterpictures@gmail.com.
Gab Street is sponsored for the month of February by Bill Shaft. Make sure to go pre-order his new album Revenant on all streaming services. Bill is a 19-year-old rapper and event planner for Sluggish Records from Chillicothe, Ohio. His new project has features from Dirty Sanchez and Desi Hines from Pro Era. Bill is really someone to watch in 2020. Make sure to go follow him on Instagram at BillShaft47. His music is on every streaming platform. Just look up Bill Shaft, the S in Shaft is a $sign. Catch Bill live this month, February 5th at Sam Rothstein's infamous Declassified at Victories Live, February 8th in Columbus at Cafe Bourbon Street for his album release party, February 13th at Ace of Cups in Columbus with Trigno, Tobilla, Static Rez, and more, and February 14th in Cincinnati at Northside Tavern.
Because it can be so confusing, because everybody's goal is just like this nebulous, I want to make it. And I was like, well, okay, what does that mean? What does that actually mean?
Make it aware.
Yeah. So
I feel like I should have people pay to listen to this episode.
I like sitting here, man, like, because I'm gonna be honest, like, when you first started, like, popping up and posting, like, yo, I'm, you know, if you want to get booked for one of my shows, like, I'm charging, like, me, like, you know, when I first started doing shows, like, that was like the end all be all.
Yeah.
Like, I will never charge.
all my friends
play, you know
over the past
like,
3 months, all my close like rapper friends are like, Sam, what are you doing, bro?
Right.
And I'm like, yo, I lived long enough to see myself become the villain. That's what happened.
Right.
That's what happened.
Right. And you know, and my first thought is like, you know, like, man, like, you know, all right, Sam's he's not making any money on his shows, so he's charging people to do the shows, right? And like just thinking like that, like terrible bad taste in my mouth. But after sitting here hearing you say it, like,
yeah,
you're a booking agent for artists, right? You're not a promoter in Columbus trying to bring people to the city.
Yeah.
You're providing a service for the artist. So you're making the connections with the booking.
Yeah, and it's also
who are
like
booking shows and all that stuff. And it might be something that you're putting under your name, under, you know, Declassified or whatever, but it makes way more sense hearing you say it now of like, yo, I'm providing a service for the artist.
Yeah.
So if they want to get shows, I can get them on in different cities. Or
well, and it's also like
whatever.
There are dudes right now in Columbus that pay $350 to get 35 tickets, to then sell those tickets, to then pay the promoter $250 or $300. Then they get to keep $50, and they get to go do 10 minutes to open for fucking Chris Kalinko or whoever at like 8:30 at night at the Alrosa.
Right.
That happens every day in
Yep.
this fucking city all the time.
Right.
And it's like, I ain't never done that before. Like, my rate is not that expensive. Declassified is a lit ass show to do, especially because I can't tell you how many artists finesse me and they pay the fee and then they do great at Declassified. And I'm like, yo, you're dope as fuck. And they're like, thank you. This is my first show. And I'm like, yo, tell me that next time. I'm like, I'm not trying to be the first time dude right now. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. But, there's still plenty of situations where I'm reaching out to artists and just asking them to be on the show, and there's no money exchange or anything like that. But what really happened, though, is it was a seismic shift in where the money in the hip-hop market in Columbus went. Because, and this isn't like a big conspiracy type thing, but it's just something I noticed, and I have plenty of other friends on the other side of the fence that do this, and I know where the fuck the money went. Like, people stopped going to hip-hop shows and started going to hip-hop parties. A party is just a much safer bet entertainment-wise for general people than going to a hip-hop show, which is why I've spent so long shitting on people that throw bad hip-hop shows, because they affect the market we exist in. When people know that it's like, well, I can pay $10 and I can hear a bunch of lyrics I don't know, shit I probably couldn't dance to because it's dudes' struggle bars or whatever. And it's like, or I could go hear Travis Scott, who, like, I know all the words to Travis Scott songs. I can rock to that shit. It's great. Feels good. Right. I'm with all my people. No one cares if I'm talking to my friends. I can talk over the DJ. It's fine. You know what I mean? Like, so the choice you're giving people right now in Columbus, it's like, it's pretty, weighted. That's why, like, Declassified was me, like, that's why I didn't do as many Pipelines, because Pipeline was a show about moving people in different cities and getting artists paid. And they got harder and harder to throw without losing my ass, because it's like, okay, if I want to pay everybody fairly, it's like, these people got to bring people. And a lot of these artists aren't promoting like that, and they're not bringing people because they're just stuck in Columbus and they don't have any new fans to bring into the table. And so, like,
Declassified. Make a comment on that real quick.
Yeah.
Same thing happens here.
What do you mean?
I will interview people on the show, and I don't exchange money on this show for interviews.
Yeah.
That's not something that happens. People won't promote their episodes.
Yeah.
That they do on here, even though it makes them look good.
To be fair, though, a lot of people don't know how to promote episodes. Because, like, okay, the people that don't promote those podcasts are probably people that don't listen to podcasts. Fair enough. They don't have fans that listen to podcasts, so they don't even understand, too. But it's like, they don't understand just what a good look that is. Like, yo, somebody sat and talked to me for an hour and recorded it. Right. Because I'm so fucking cool.
It's like, getting like a post in, like, the Dispatch or something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just more publicity. Like, oh, somebody actually wanted to talk to me for an hour and record what I had to say.
Yeah, people are very careless. And not even careless, but people don't see the resources they have in front of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, when it came to Pipeline and stuff, though, those are shows that people had to get paid. And the artists have to get paid, and they have to get paid fairly, but I need to get paid for the effort I put into it, the venue or whoever's got to get paid. And they became harder to throw. And so Declassified was me sort of retreating into, like, my Alamo and being like, all right, listen, this is how we're going to have to do this shit right now. Because people aren't paying to come see this. The artists aren't putting in the effort to promote this shit. So we're going to do a different format show. We're going to make it free. We're not going to pay the artists. We're going to just see who wants to put new dope shit out there. And we're going to see who wants to see it week after week or 2 weeks after 2 weeks or whatever. And it's been working well, and it's like, I don't make a lot of money off Declassified, but to me it's well worth it to have a regular hip-hop event that people that are serious about it, and to, like, the last bastion of people that care. And, like, there's like the Unchained Showcase, and there's a lot of good hip-hop shows that are out there in Columbus too. It's just a lot of them don't occur with the frequency that Declassified does. So the hip-hop game just changed, because things like Orange Soda, things like Native Tongues, even though Native Tongues that's another great successful hip-hop show, a lot more poetry events started popping up. Hip-hop culture in Columbus got so kind of big that it was easy for people to sort of retreat into their own little faction of it. And it wasn't about, like, this big unified scene.
Everybody coming together.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, like, oh, everybody got cliquey. I'm just saying, like, no, everybody just went off into their interests. The fashion people went back into fashion. The, video people kept doing videos. The rappers kind of did, it's not as unified as it once was, but it's bigger than it was, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a much bigger market, but it's much more fragmented. And so, also, and shout out to, like, Orange Soda, and shout out to, like, Just Friends, and shout out to, like, all the shit Nasty does. Sex on Fridays, him and Lil Ratchet Soul. Like, there are people that throw amazing events in Columbus across the board, and on the EDM side too, and stuff like that. Like, we're really, really fortunate to live in this era and time. But it also didn't come out of nowhere. It came from people like him, you know, doing stuff and showing people like me who kept doing stuff and whatnot. And it's like, it's important that event people keep together and talking, because that's another one of the ways like I'm trying to organize in 2020. And like I've just been meeting with way more people that do other events, even if there's no way for us to work together, because that happens plenty of times. Right. Like you meet people with like common interests, they do what you do kind of, and blah blah blah, but it's just like, yeah, people are like, you should do something together. It's like, yeah, but why?
Right.
You know,
right.
like why don't we just be two people that do our own thing and it's cool
right.
and stuff, and
stay
we can see each other.
Right,
yeah,
right. Hell yeah. And also to talk about that as well, man. Like, you know, that was a big thing I realized too. Like when I first started doing hip hop shows was, I ran across this spot called Milk Bar. That used to be in the Short North on High Street. It was like a clothing store or whatever. And my dude Kareem owned the store and also had been running long-standing hip-hop nights at Scully's and some other places, and did like OG, which was like an old school hip-hop night, and then he did something else at Scully's like every Saturday night or whatever. And he ran them for like a decade, and when I first met him, he was the first dude that like actually did like hip-hop events like that were more parties. And for me, like not drinking, not coming from like that party atmosphere, like I always hated going to a DJ night because I wanted to see live music, right? Like I wanted to see a new MC come up. So for me, my goal was to discover new MCs and producers or whatever. So that's why like Knock 5 was that. But I realized like, man, like I don't know if I would say that it, you know, it evolved and like parties started being more popular. I think just that audience was different, you know what I'm saying? People have always loved
hip hop itself definitely changed too.
Hip hop has changed, but I think there's always been a bigger need, or at least in Columbus from my view, for the DJ party. You know what I'm saying? For people to go out, have a good time, not care if I can talk to my friends and just listen to my favorite songs. Like I think that's just like
that's the other
the party environment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, and in hip hop specifically, like it's weird. Because it almost, all right, I'm not even going to go down that road. But in hip-hop, people have a way already to hear hip-hop. And when hip-hop started, it was live music. It was a DJ playing shit that people had never fucking heard before. Somebody scratching breaks on records.
Right.
And looping them and stuff like that. And MCs came along, and they were just dudes that hyped up the DJ. They were just dudes that just talked to the crowd and said how fucking great the DJ was. Then when multiple DJs got booked on the same night, there would be the dude that was going on after them. They'd be like, well, we're way doper than they are, actually. And then the other MC would be like, yo, fuck him. And then the next MC said, fuck him, I'm above him. And people were like, oh shit, that rhymed, what? And then when they started making it rhyme, that's how battling started and MCing started and stuff like that. Like, that's the fundamental rule of the English language. If you rhyme it, you won. Like Johnny Cochran, he's the greatest battle rapper of all time. Because he said, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. And people were just like, oh, no fucking way. Yup, he's innocent for sure. And I don't know. Like, hip-hop started as parties, though. It started as, you know, people in block parties and stuff like that. It was a communal thing. If I love Norwegian black metal, the only place I can go to really hear that, I can't hear it on the radio. I can't really, you know, you can find it on Spotify, but like to really enjoy that music, you got to go hear it live with other people that like, you know, Norwegian black metal. And so that's why those shows are still big and popular. But in hip hop, it was never really about the show culture. Because like if you listen to like history, like yo, hip hop shows have been getting fucked up and ruined by dudes with guns forever. Like, half of Run DMC's tour stops, people got shot at. Like, oh yeah. And like, it used to be like people would come in and rob the show. Like, they'd rob 1,000 people in a fucking show. Like, I remember reading that in this, the History of the Hip Hop Business book. It was one of Run DM shows in Detroit or something. And like a group of like 20 to 30 dudes just stood at the exits with guns and made everybody leave and just robbed everyone as they left. Yeah. And it's just shit like that. MWA concerts, things happen like that. But, if you like hip-hop in this day and age, you know exactly, you've got a million different ways you can hear it. You can hear it on the radio, you can hear it on the internet, you can go to a club or a bar and hear it. It's not like other genres of music where it's like the live way is the way to hear it. Bands are very different from hip hop than that. So, it's like you're by trying to make more people go to hip hop shows than already go to hip hop parties. It's an uphill battle already, because literally since the inception of hip hop, it's been about communally dancing and listening to music. That's really what, everybody likes to get into it. It's like, it's about warrior poetry and speaking up against the government. It's like, well, that did come, but it wasn't the first thing hip hop was. Mm-hmm. It was people in a fucking bar listening to music and shit. Because the first DJs were dudes that would play for the people that counted the numbers. Like the numbers is like a big thing in Harlem and in New York and stuff like that. And it was basically just like a lottery, like an unofficial lottery that was just run by the people, basically. And every Saturday somebody would win the numbers and shit like that. And it was like a big deal. And so when people would hit the numbers or whatever, and they would have parties and stuff like that, they started needing DJs and shit. And so that was some of the first DJs that ever existed. Like DJ Hollywood, he was one of the first ones. And this was like back in the late 60s and shit like that. And this was like the 70s and stuff. So, yeah, it's just hip-hop is just such a unique, different genre of music, and none of the conventional rules of other music really apply to it at all. So it's not just like, just throw a big show and more people want to see it. There's a lot of people that are like, I love Young Thug, but I wouldn't see Young Thug live. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same as like, do you want to see fucking Metallica, or do you want to see, Led Zeppelin or whoever? Like, it's not the same. Now, once you reach true pop levels, you're at Drake, Beyonce status, people will go see that show because they put $2 million each night into making that show as amazing as fucking possible or whatever. So, I don't know. Again, forgot the original question.
I guess the original question was about your manifestation of that retuning of your priorities, looking for the word there. One of those manifestations that I have been plugging on the show quite a bit, and something that I'm excited to see grow more this year is Visionnaire Spotlight. And the episodes aren't released yet to listen to. Hopefully they will be by the time that this is released. But
that's Corey's way of saying I need to get my shit together.
That's true. That is true, yes. Because I do handle that, so that is the problem of mine. But I wanted to get some of your thoughts out there about Visionaires and why you started it, and why you started with Danny, I should say.
So, like, I had wanted to do that for a long time. I got the idea originally. Real quick, can you plug something or do something for 2 seconds? I just need to fill up my water bottle.
Yeah, for sure. I got you. I'll just talk about Visionaires for a minute.
Yeah.
So, Visionnaire Spotlight is a very, very fucking entertaining podcast that is going to be released, as I said, with Sam Rothstein and Danny Rogers, also known as Ace on Intrigue. Both of them have a long history of being involved with film or being a fan of film, and they started a show that's a live event that happens at Wild Goose Creative. Is it always going to be there, pretty much?
For the foreseeable. It's funny. I'm actually like 2 days away from my next negotiation with them, so it may not be. And it may, but no, I've always they've always been super supportive and great, and so like no, we've never had any issues. So I would imagine it's going to stay there. I want it to stay there. I love that space.
Yeah, so. It's a fantastic space. It's perfect for what we do there. I could set up the chairs better, but
well, so could I too. I could set up the fucking projector better.
We just need to get a dedicated projector for it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's like I had the idea for it. I think late 2017 maybe. But I'd wanted to do it forever. I just never really found the place, found the time. It was one of those. A lot of times, if I have an idea, I'll just throw it out there in conversation, like with anyone I talk to, and just kind of see what the general consensus is. And I knew it was a good idea, and I knew that it was something I wanted to do, whether it, like, I never really cared if it got, like, big or anything. I just wanted to do it. And, because I've directed a couple music videos before, and I really like it, and I love seeing other artists' music videos, and I think it's kind of a lost art. I think that things like TikTok and Triller are... sort of doing away with music videos, and people don't really understand that, and they'll still always be around. But I was an MTV kid. Music videos were like important growing up, So I wanted to do an event that was like a music video showcase, but then I decided, I was like, well, I don't want to fucking do only music videos. I want to make it more just director centric. And then that coupled with, I'm a massive cinephile and movie nerd. And for however much shit I've talked accumulatively about throwing shows and music and tooting my own horn, I could do it 4 times as much about why Martin Scorsese's great, or, you know, like my favorite directors in movies. Like, I'm fucking obsessed with movies. So I always knew I wanted a movie podcast, and I wanted to do that. So I was like, well, I'll just put those two together, because I was trying to incorporate live podcasting into more events anyway. I think it's a cool little way to just sort of break the ice with everybody and let people on the internet know that there's live shit happening, and let them hear the audience too, and stuff like that.
Follow Visionnaire Spotlight on Instagram. It's at the Visionnaire Spotlight. That will be that'll have like all the footage from in little snippets, obviously. But
did you start that? Who started that Instagram?
That was me.
Okay,
me and Danny. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, who the fuck started this Instagram for me?
Oh, they started a fan page.
Cool. I was like, sweet, we got a fan club already. But no, we've done 3 of them so far, and the first iteration of it actually started at Cloud City. That's when I chose to kind of, and with Danny,
it's the first Tuesday of every month, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So remember that.
And with Danny, like me and him met. We didn't meet in person, I think, until 2018, but we had kind of been talking. We got introduced through Il Poetic. He kind of introduced us, and I really like Danny's videos. And so he had always just been bugging me, like, yo, let me shoot a video for you. Let's do something. I was like, I don't fucking know what I want to do. I didn't really have any music to do music videos to. And it wasn't until we met in 2018 at the tour, the Intergang tour in Virginia. And yeah, it was crazy. It was just like, we met, we started talking about Ness, or, you know, mutual friend that had passed, and just about what our kind of vision was. Then we started talking movies, and he didn't even know I was a movie nerd. And so yeah, I just started watching more of his works and stuff, and we just kind of became friends with that. So then when I realized that, I was like, well, I want to do this event. I don't want me to be the only part of it. I don't want it to just be like, listen to Sam Rothstein talk about movies, because like, I haven't done enough. Danny's actually made fucking full-length movies and shit like that, and he's like in the actual industry, but he's also a punk rock dude, and he's also just like a real, you know, like person. And because a lot of the film community in Columbus is very, you know, snooty,
pinky out.
Yeah. And I just don't. I don't know. I don't get along with people like that very well.
Yeah.
So, he was a perfect choice. And so we've been having a blast, and it's been really fun watching it's just fun watching the directors' fucking faces light up when they get to ask each other nerdy questions about director stuff that like no one else knows what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, I don't understand it. So
yeah,
what they're saying.
That's literally the environment I wanted to create. I like doing niche little things like that. Some shit that's not for everybody. However, the Visionnaire Spotlight I would like to make not more accessible, but like we need to get some sponsors, and we need to like put more external effort into it in bringing more people out, because I do think it's important. And there's not really a lot of stuff in the city like it. There's Music Video Mondays. That's about the only thing I think that comes close. I've never been to one of those, so I don't really know how it works or what the submission process is like or anything. Because with this, it's just like, you know, people just kind of hit us up and are like, this director's dope, blah, blah, blah. And I've found so many new people that I've never even heard of, and they're really talented and really cool. And it's just it's a weird art form to kind of put your brand on, because a lot of times these guys are making videos for other people, so their works involve other artists. And a lot of times it's the artist kind of pays it for them, so they're like, you know, fuck you, give me my video and I'll do with it what I please. Or some of the directors, like some of the bigger directors, they have, you know, YouTube where they throw all their videos in. But the YouTube's, you know, Ken Vision's, like, he's got fucking crazy subscribers on his YouTube. Or
Mac Lawrence.
Yeah, Mac Lawrence or Bangavelli, or, you know, like any of those dudes that are more on the very hip-hop side of video directing and stuff like that. Those dudes that do 3-4 videos a week. Man, there's nobody eating like they are in local hip-hop.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So yeah, I just wanted to pair them with weird art house directors and shit too. You know what I mean? I wanted to have everybody see.
Are you seeing that?
Like,
seeing like a good mix of like attendance
Yeah.
up, because I've been, me having a background in video, like I've been wanting to make it out to Visionnaire.
Well, I want to put
so,
you on one. Just because, because my thing is, I don't want to just look at music videos. I don't want to look at, I want people on there that have made commercials.
Right.
I want people on there that have, done more marketing based stuff or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
skits, like Revolter Pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Like I really just want to, because we're gonna have Yogi Split on the next one, and literally he's just gonna talk about the little 15-second videos he makes on Instagram to promote his shows that are just quirky and silly and weird. But I love them, and I think they're genius, and I've seen them work on promoting shows and stuff like that. So nothing is excluded. There's no you didn't use this kind of camera, so it's nothing like that. It's literally just if you put fucking moving picture images together with sound behind it, you can be on there.
Yeah, I feel like it's like you said, there's not really anything else in town doing it. As far as getting partners and sponsors, I can see a Midwest Photo or you know what I'm saying. CCAD has a film office now right down there. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing like it, and it's not just focused on music videos, you know what I'm saying? Where it's not only one type. Anybody who has a love of film, you know what I'm saying, no matter what background they come or what industry they're in, they can and should be a part of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's just I don't know, it's just some fun shit to do, and it doesn't cost anything, at least right now. That may change in the future, because Wild Goose has been very gracious with us and letting us use their venue. But if it grew, that's really the only drawback of Wild Goose, that because pretty much every single one, with the exception I think of one, we've filled all the chairs that are there. So if it grew much bigger than that, we would probably have to move somewhere else. So we might go to I would like to do it Studio 35 or something.
Yeah.
In Clintonville, but
that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those weird things, but it's literally my favorite event to do. I have more fun at that than all my other events combined. Yeah. Just because I get to nerd out about movies. And it's the movie, we always just, on the podcast, we're just doing a commentary track on a movie. And it's usually just some big dumb action movie that me and Danny both like or whatever. And we want to do more podcasts on our own so that we can watch more movies and stuff. Because every week we're what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? And it's 7 fucking movies, and we can never pick the right one. And then we end up settling on let's watch Con Air. And then it's and so, yeah, but we're just trying not to, I want something that's cool and artistic and film nerdy, but not pretentious. You know what I mean? I just don't want it to be pretentious. I don't want people to think well, I'm not a huge cinephile, so I don't, I can't be a part of this, or I don't want to feel like this is over my head or anything. It's not like that. If you like movies, you'll like it pretty much.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Hey, you got hella movie posters in here too, I forget.
Yes, I do.
Did you like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I loved it.
I did too. I fucking really, really loved it, man. The only thing I didn't like was the ending, though.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Well, it's it's what he does. It's what he did with Django. It's what he did with Inglourious Basterds. Hateful Eight, not really. I didn't fucking like Hateful Eight, though.
Yeah.
But Once Upon a Time, it was just cool seeing, the first time we ever see Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio on screen together. It's literally just them being buddies.
Yeah.
They're not it's not an Al Pacino, Robert De Niro thing in Heat where they're mortal enemies or whatever, but they're it's literally just they're just hanging out. I don't know. I thought it was so just refreshing to see a movie about people that are just buddies and they're just friends, and that's about as far as it goes.
I see that movie as Tarantino taking a paintbrush and just flicking paint onto a canvas. It just feels like an action painting of a film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just seems he just liked the characters and wanted to hang out with them.
Yeah.
And I like movies like that. I like movies where you're just chilling with people and not a lot of happens plot-wise and stuff like that. That's why I'm a big fan of Terrence Malick and stuff. Because his movies are vinyl records. You can just put his movie on and you could start it at any point in the movie and it doesn't fucking matter that much, honestly. They're movies you just vibe to. They're just they're movies that just make you feel things, and there's not a lot of dialogue, there's not a lot of plot or shit you got to pay attention to. It's just the most gorgeous cinematography you've ever seen of some setting or place, someone wandering around through it, and then just their inner thoughts. And it's the best way to convey a vibe and a feeling, and no one else does it like him. But none of his movies make any money either. But that's what's crazy is Terrence Malick is legendary director. He can get Brad Pitt right now if he wanted to. He can get any, actors are dying to work with him. And that's literally the only reason he still makes movies. Because, like, all his movies lose money. Like, fucking all of them. Everything since The Thin Red Line has lost money. But Hollywood's just like, it's Terrence Malick, though. He's so good. We're just going to keep letting him fucking lose money. Like, I'll bet you The Irishman lost money. Yeah. I guarantee you, yeah. Netflix probably didn't get the result out of that movie probably cost. I mean, that's why he was at Netflix in the first place. He wasn't able to get a studio to give him $120 million to see fucking Al Pacino and Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci together one last time. But anyway, don't make me go down this rabbit hole, because I will go down this rabbit hole.
One more thing I wanted to ask you about specifically, and if you aren't able to talk about it for very long, that's totally fine too, but kind of recently you got a little more involved with the comedy scene with doing Sam and Cecil's Drunken Pizza Party, which sadly didn't end up happening again, but that's okay.
Well, not again yet.
So that is kind of in the works, sort of?
No. Honestly, it's not.
Fair enough. All right.
First of all, shout out to Cecil. I love Cecil to death.
We had him on episode 45.
Yeah, I saw that. He's a wonderful human. He's fucking hilarious, and he's a serious comic. It's kind of an oxymoron, I realize, but he's serious about his comedy career, and unfortunately, a lot of comedians in Columbus are not.
Yeah.
And I don't... Okay, so I think a lot of it has to do with the culture of comedy, right? It's a lot of people, a lot of self-deprecation, a lot of people talking about why they're not good enough, why people don't want to date them, blah, 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 putting it all out there. And a lot of former class clowns, a lot of people that tried other artistic things that are now just in comedy because they're like, yeah, I've made people laugh, I can be in comedy. Like, you get a crazy cross-section of people that end up becoming comedians. And this is not aimed at any comedian in particular, but it's like, what you don't get often with comedians is alpha, go-getter, I'm gonna grab the world by the horns, and you know what I mean? Like, that personality type rarely ends up being stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
It does happen, and those are the comedians that end up going freakishly far, and like, those are the Kevin Harts of the world. Like, when you hear how fucking hard Kevin Hart works, it's insane. It's like kind of creepy almost, like how hard some of these people work. So, okay, take that, and then that's the comedian pool of working comedians. Okay, these are the people that like make a living off comedy. There's still a lot of, I go to bed at 5 a.m. and sleep in until fucking 3. You know what I mean? I smoke too much. I drink too much. I don't eat what I'm supposed to. I fuck people that aren't good for me. Blah, blah, blah. That's working comedians. Now, distill that down to local people who genuinely don't believe they're ever going to fucking make it. And that's who you're dealing with a lot of in local comedy scenes. Now, the Columbus comedy scene, I will say this. All the comedians I've met, with the exception of 2, are fucking hilarious. And they're great at comedy. And they're good people. Now, the exception, the 2 people, the exceptions, great people, just not that funny. They just need to work. But, like, those are pretty good that's a good ratio as far as I'm concerned. Like, and there's a good amount of comics and stuff. And if you look, all these comics are getting stage time every single week. And they're getting stage time multiple places, usually multiple places a night every week. But that's also a drawback of the Columbus comedy scene. For me, just from an entertainer promotion perspective, they want to get stage time so they get good at comedy. But then they get too much stage time and people see them everywhere, so no one wants to go to any one individual show.
Just like in music.
Exactly.
People play too many times out, and then they can't draw.
And that's why hip-hop and stand-up comedy are so close, because they're so similar. You can't really do that as a rock band. It's even hard as a rock band to get up on, like, open mics every week. Mm-hmm. Like, the drummer's like, damn, dude, I have a girlfriend, or, you know what I mean? Like, something happens, but, like, with hip-hop, it doesn't take as much. So, and all of the comedians that I hear, like, what they all talk about, like, the holy grail of what you can do in Columbus, like, the biggest thing is you either get on the local showcase at the Funny Bone, or you make enough noise that some bigger comedian or mid-level comedian notices you, puts you on as an opener when they come to the Funny Bone. which most of the time they don't because they have their own openers.
That's touring with them.
Yeah, that's
Just
touring
like
with them.
Gotcha.
So, the Columbus comedy scene fucked themselves out of ever doing things at the Funny Bone. Keep in mind, Funny Bone, we're talking maybe 300, 400 people max you can fit in this place. So, their holy grail and the ultimate goal for a comedian in Columbus right now is to get in front of 300, 400 people. But see, they want to do it at the Funny Bone because that's an official, like, comedy club and shit like that. But they don't realize that it's like, yo, first of all, the 400 people that going in there, you're not getting all that money. Like, the Funny Bone's getting all that money, and you're getting whatever your prize is or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But it's like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, so 300 people, that's what we're talking about here. Like, that's making it. That's it. You want to play in front of 300 people. But in comedy, it's such entrenched thinking of like, yeah, but this is the way comedians do it. And like, this is a true comedy thing. Like, it's why comedians don't get paid. If fucking Joe Rogan does a set at the Comedy Store right now, fucking Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, whoever, name them, they do a set at the Comedy Store right now, they're not going to get paid for it. Like, comedians don't get paid at the Comedy Store. It's not about that. It's like a school for comedy and shit like that. But it's a rule from like the 70s. And different comedians have tried to update it every single time and tried to fucking like get it changed and stuff like that. And Mitzi Shore or whoever ran it would always go back on it. But comedians just have this habit of going like, yeah, well, this is the way they do it. And, oh, shit, I don't know. No more Funny Bone. Because they fucked themselves out of the Funny Bone. Because when Louis C.K. came the last time, some comedians decided to throw a protest show. Because it was after the controversy or whatever. Well, the guy that owns the Funny Bone, apparently, and this might be like super hot tea I'm not supposed to spill, but I think everybody kind of knows this by now. But the guy that runs the Funny Bone is like a no bullshit fucking LA show business dude. Who, like, you know, like, those dudes are like fucking Tony Soprano. So, like, he hears about that. He's like, oh, shit, locals want to protest my fucking show? Well, guess what? Locals are never coming to the Funny Bone, ever.
Damn.
Just slashes and burns the whole thing. So no more local showcase, no more anything.
They stopped all of it.
Stopped all of it.
You're not opening for anybody coming through.
Nope.
You're not doing a showcase.
Because he's just like, yo, fuck you, man. I don't need you. I've got Louis C.K. I've got whoever else. I've got national people. Because it's a boom in comedy right now. Stand-up comedy's never been bigger.
Yeah.
And so, it's a perfect storm of things happening in Columbus right now for their comedy scene to be stuck in the mud and just running in place. And they are not taking themselves as seriously as they need to be. They're not taking their events as seriously as they need to be. They're not taking their promotioning or marketing or branding as serious as they need to. It's just a bunch of fucking funny people being funny. And that's not going to get them anywhere. Because I've seen it happen in hip-hop too, where you got a bunch of motherfuckers that can rap. And that's it. They're just good at rapping. But what the fuck, it's done with that. What can you do with that? What can you do with just a bunch of funny ass people? So until the shows get more organized, and like, I also haven't tried it again, because part of me is like, yo, I'm not a comedian. It's not really my place to just go into their community and start fucking being like, well, this is how you gotta do it. But I also know a thing or two about live events and getting people out to shows and stuff like that. And it's like, comedians just don't like social media. I don't know what the fuck it is, but like, there's some comedians that are like Twitter comedians, like they just say pithy, funny little things. But yeah, like, comedians are just like fucking allergic to promoting. And it's just like, okay, you'll see what that gets you, man. You'll see. But if getting in front of 300 was your guys' fucking goal, they could have all came together, not did comedy for fucking 2 months and just went over to each other's houses and just got their stage time that way and just did funny shit for other comedians just to test out their material and stay fresh. And then all put their resources together, all promoted the living shit out of this one comedy show, and they could have had just as many people in the fucking
giant
the funny
showcase themselves, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I've been seeing like the whole comedy thing pop up too, and I'm not like super familiar. I went to the Funny Bone one time.
I've never been to the Funny Bone.
Like, I think, what's his name, Josh Blue or something like that.
Okay.
Like, when, like, I had no idea. It was like a friend had, like, tickets or something. We're like, yeah, I guess I'll go to a comedy show. And had a good time, like, being there. So I was like, okay, like, you know, I would be down to go out to you know, another comedy show. But then I see, like, open mics and you know what I mean, shit like that going on. And I'm like, man, like, is Columbus, like... Well, it's like Columbus have, like a big comedy scene... And hearing you talk about it, it makes perfect sense as to why that is. But do you, as a promoter and as somebody who has experience doing live shows, and you see, like, I feel like when you say, okay, everybody's big holy grail is to go to the Funny Bone. That's one venue out of, the 800,000 people in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Is there now an opportunity for somebody to spark that good, well-organized comedy event showcase that happens on a monthly or bi-monthly basis?
I mean, yeah, but the problem is like, stand-up comedy is such a simple, it's the hardest kind of entertainment to pull off. And I'm way too forgiving of comedians. Like, I'll think not funny people are really funny. Because I just simply want to laugh for them. Because I'm like, that's got to be so hard to do. To get up there and be like, hey, here's my butthole. Don't make fun of me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm amazed anytime people can be funny on command. But it's just like, they need to... There's not a lot of ways you can innovate a comedy show. There's not a lot of ways you could like, we're going to do this way. Because it's just like, the difference is like, well, do we do 10-minute sets? Do we do 5-minute sets? Do we have 8 comedians? Do we have 4? What are they, like the comedy show I started doing, the only reason we were different is because we did a live podcast. And the comedians that were going to be on would come on the podcast beforehand, and we talk, and then we do the comedy show. But if comedians don't know to promote the podcast, they don't give a fuck about being on a podcast. They don't care. Like, that's the thing. Someone's got to be there to care.
Right.
Because in other genres of music, there's people that are just like, well, I just want to throw shows. Like, I'm not a guitarist. I'm not a whoever. I just want to throw shows. In comedy, though, it just seems like you kind of have to be a comedian to do your own thing. Because that's how a lot of these comedians make their money, too. They host open mics. Or they host their own comedy open mic or whatever it is. But, then there's the words open mic. And that's fucking... like cool stuff repellent sometimes. It's the same thing as calling your fucking hip hop shit a showcase. It's just like, everybody knows what that means, man.
Right.
It just means 30-minute sets. People still going on at 1:45 in the morning.
Yep. 10 people on.
Yeah.
Have 10 of their friends on stage.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. So it's just going to take somebody that cares, somebody that's innovative, somebody that wants more. Somebody that's not just satisfied with the little... Because here's the thing. Columbus is a city where it's very easy to feel like you're getting shit done. And it's very easy, because we have such an active art scene now, that it's easy to get lost in the sauce. Like, I saw a lot of this in LA when I first went out there. To where it's like, there's always some, like, music business party or some, like, just thing to do that everybody just kind of feels like they're doing shit, but they're just sort of standing in place and just kind of being shuffled around. And it's really easy to do in Columbus, too, because you can be a rapper and you can, have your little fans, and you can throw a release party and you can get 50 people to show up, and you can smoke blunts outside and maybe meet a cute girl, and you just feel like you're doing shit. You feel like you're making progress, but it's like, you're not. You're doing the same shit you were doing 6 months ago, and you're going to be doing the same shit in 6 months. There's not any real changes or seismic shifts in kind of your mode of thinking or, like what you're doing, because it just feels good. It just feels cool. You're just like, yeah, this feels fine. Because it's hard. Like, it's hard being really successful. It's hard to, like, excel and get into the next level. So a lot of people, I think, get into the level to where it's like they don't get past the validation phase. And I feel like a lot of the comedians are like, well, I know I'm funny. Like, I can get up and if you give me a good enough crowd, I can do it. But it's like, okay, so you did the hard part, which is being funny. Now you do the harder part, which is finding the fucking crowd. But a lot of them I feel like they're just kind of waiting. They're just like, yeah, someone will figure it out. It's like, man, no one's...
Just like in music.
Yeah, it's like literally no one's going to figure it out until you guys just start thinking about it and you just fucking do it. So I don't know if they really want to. But I do think Cecil is one of the couple people that would be the one to do it, if you had to ask me or whatever.
I agree with that. I think Cecil's a very driven guy. And he demonstrated that in this episode too.
And he's realistic.
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
That's true. I also had I think this episode's releasing after it. Kyle Dowdy. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I love Kyle.
Yeah,
Kyle's dope.
Yeah, he was at Cloud City too.
Yeah, him. First of all, Kyle Dowdy is a handsome man, and he's also fucking hilarious. But he's a really good actor. Every time he's in the Chick-fil-A video that that little show did.
Yeah.
he was so fucking good in that and so hilarious. And like he was one of those comedians that he was really one of those people I met that like he's also serious about it. You can tell he's driven, but he's on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like just ready to be funny all the time. And I like him because a lot of people think that like, to be funny you have to be the most like fucked up or the most like, oh, I'm a mess or like, you know what I mean? But like he's just a dude that's just silly and funny. Like he's just silly and it's like it's just so fucking refreshing to me.
Yeah, it was a great episode with him. I love him.
We didn't have is there any kind of time limit on this? I just need to know so I don't talk myself into oblivion.
Nah.
Okay, cool. Because I was going to go live here in a second too. I just didn't want to like do it and then 5 minutes later.
How long you go live for?
It doesn't matter.
We're at about an hour and 12 minutes.
Damn.
12 and a half. So
welcome to Podcast with me.
I really only had one more question for you though.
Okay.
I wanted to ask about the future of Cloud City because I imagine a lot of the listeners want to know about that. If I'm allowed to ask.
Yeah. So there will be a Cloud City event in February actually.
Oh, okay.
Cool. This year we're just basically we all agreed that we don't have the fucking mental capacity to throw a whole other festival this year. Even before the first Cloud City, we kind of realized this was going to be a biannual thing. I watched this speech, this TED Talk with Kevin Lyman, the guy that made Warped Tour. And he was talking about, you know, how annual festivals are really killing the game and saturating the market. And making it really hard for good festivals to continue because they have to compete every single year. And more people should start throwing, you know, biannual festivals. And I was like, well, fuck it. I guess if Kevin Lyman says I should do it, I'll do my part. And but this year we still wanted to throw events. So we're going to be throwing 4 seasonal smaller events, probably 300-400 people type events. A little more kind of party based but still contain the different elements from Cloud City, and we're doing this to test out new elements and to bring new things into it, as well as kind of reinforce the stuff that we know is tried and true. Because me personally, and I'm not going to speak for the whole team because I'm sure they're getting increasingly annoyed with me doing that, but I would like the festival by the time we do it again in 2021 to be twice as big. Okay. And to either be a 2-day festival or like all of our buildings have 2 stories or whatever it is. But I want it to be twice as big. It's just going to be twice as hard. But maybe not, because now that we've built it, we know kind of what we're doing. But here's the other thing. Planning for if we can even use, you know, 400 Rich 2 years from now. If they're even going to have music events there anymore. Because just this year, those apartments being there, it's been fucking hard for them, you know, and they've had the cops show up more times this year about noise and shit like that. And the people that run that space, they don't want that. That's not good for them. Yeah. A lot of people really depend on that space, and there's a lot more at stake than just some fucking music stuff. It's just such a good space, and we liked it. And big shout out to 400 Rich. I loved working with them. They were way, I'm not going to say like more accommodating than they need to be, but they were very accommodating, and they really helped us out. And I would love to work with them again. Big shout out to Seth and Stephanie and AJ and all of them. So that's a question of like, it's one of those things that you just got to plan far out in advance and ahead of stuff. And it's just fucking cool. And I'm not going to make the actual announcement of what the actual event itself is going to be. But yes, there will be Cloud City events happening all year and whatnot. Because we're also trying to develop a little bit of a program to where we can help other people get their event ideas off the ground, and Cloud City can kind of incubate smaller events that we're not really running ourselves, but we're kind of just helping out, providing resources for, because we have resources now, you know what I mean? As like an organization, we have lights and sound and other stuff like that. So that was always sort of the plan with Cloud City too, was to just end up being like a real platform, like a real way that like getting people kind of under one umbrella, that it's like, yeah, we're trying to grow and incubate stuff and give people the resources to get their ideas off the ground and whatnot, and make a safe space for them to do that. So it's so weird to me. Like, I feel like Cloud City happened 2 fucking years ago. Like, just the shit I've been through since then. Like, I think that like 2019 was a shitty. I'm not even gonna say shitty. I don't ever want to say that, but it was just like, it was a rough year, man. Yeah, it was rough. I did a lot of. I realized like what the cost of actually achieving goals is. Because in 2018, I was like, 2019, I'm throwing a festival. I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know how it's gonna be. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna throw a festival in 2019. And man, did I pick the wrong festival to throw in 2019. Like, it just, of course, I couldn't just do it. I couldn't just do a festival. I couldn't just fucking put some bands on the stage. I had to be like, oh, we're gonna build a fucking city and we're gonna make it be crazier. But it was fun doing that though, because the biggest joy I got out of it was just seeing people go to the different places and walk in and be like, oh shit, and like not really know where to go, and you know, and to know that we had people that were there 6-7 hours. You know what I mean? I think we were only open 8 to 10 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
But you know, to know that there was people that needed to be there for a long time so they could experience everything and stuff was very cool, because that was like the one idea I had of just like, yeah, I want there to be like a world you could live in. That's why by the time we do it the next time, I do want it to be twice as big with twice as much stuff to look at, so that way people are encouraged to go both days as well. You know, because I just think that with festivals, and 2x2 really taught me a lot too. I was kind of, the first time I saw it, the first time I got booked on it, I was really, I had always kind of known what festivals were, I guess, but I didn't really envision what one kind of thrown on a local level would look like, and how you incorporated, you know, the breakdancing and the graffiti and, you know, the other elements into it so well. I was just like, oh yeah, there's a lot more to this than just bands on a stage and just using music as sort of the big thing. I mean, of course that is like, you know, your big draw or whatever, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like a couple of the years though, fucking breakdancing was probably a bigger draw than music was or whatever, or like a bigger portion of your crowd was there for the breakdancing stuff than the music.
Yeah, I think that was like the big thing, was like that we've learned over the last, you know, 5 years of doing it or whatever, was like people don't go to breakdancing events, they don't go to graffiti jams and shit, right? But if they see somebody on a flyer that they like from a music perspective, they'll go, and then they'll end up, you know, oh, well, I got this over here to check out. I got this. Just like you said with the Cloud City thing, was like, I've got more things to check out than just sitting in front of the stage all day. Yeah. So, it's like, you know, still having your draw seems to be bigger and will always be bigger from the music, just because that's the kind of society we live in.
Right.
But having those other things, you know what I mean, definitely opens people's eyes and ears to all the elements, which was, you know, always kind of our goal.
That's really just the game. Like, with events, you can do it two ways. You can figure out a way to get every single person that likes that niche thing in there and just figure out how to promote directly to them and only go for the people you know are going to like it. Or crossbreeding different things and having their audiences crossbreed. And then all of a sudden you have the people that are there for hula hooping or fucking dancing or whatever. They see a rapper that they like that they never knew about. And now that opens up a whole other world. Because maybe they have some uncle that throws rap shows in Virginia that they never knew they needed to know until they heard the rapper they like and stuff like that. Like, it's hard for me to not look at things that way now and look at things from the actual human little connected dots perspective of how, like, everything is connected. Like, every single thing in this universe is connected. I really do believe that. And if you think about it, like, on a molecular level, we are. Like, I molecularly, I'm not different from this couch. There's no real separation. There appears to be, but it's all fucking molecules. It's all the same shit.
It's just organization.
Exactly. It's how it's just arranged. And so I don't think that there are, like, I don't really believe in luck. I don't really believe in accidents. I don't really believe in stuff like that. I just think it's math that you don't have the variables for. And it's just about how can you turn the variables in your favor. That's why people fucking hate the 1%. That's why people hate billionaires and presidents and people that are the elites of our society. Why we really hate them is because it's like, whether it's your fucking grandpa that did it or your parents or whoever it was, there's a group of people that somewhere along the line just figured out how to make the numbers work in their favor. Yep. And then they kept doing it, and they taught their kids how to make the numbers work in their favor, and they're, you know, then they taught their kids, and it's like, that's what it is. But it's all just information at the end of the day. It's people that just knew shit and made certain choices to do it. Now, of course, yes, there's plenty of rich people that just their parents gave them all their money, whatever. But even then, like, their parents did that for a reason. Their parents knew what the fuck they were doing. And it's easy to get into the whole class envy thing and stuff like that. But it's like you realize that, there are people that have made it to that level and did start with nothing.
Right.
It's not a lot of them, but it's like...
Why not spend your time trying to figure out the solution and the equation on your own rather than being pissed off at everybody else?
Well, and it's just like, I don't know, people that, play the lottery every fucking week. And you spend $40 in the lottery, and it's like every time I see them, they're always holding me up in the gas station, but I just want to be like, you're not going to win, right? It's like, you're not going to win the lottery because you're playing fucking lottery tickets. Like, that, you're not going to manifest anything that way. Like, it doesn't work that way. It's probably going to ensure that you're never going to win the lottery, actually. Because it's like, if you just took that $40 that you fucking spent every single week, and you saved it, you could have bought a boat by now. Could have had a boat. You could have had wherever, gone on the vacation you wanted, or all the shit you think you're going to do with that lottery money. You could have did it. You could have had that money. Like, I quit smoking recently, and because, I wasn't even like a pack a day smoker, but like I just started doing the math and I was like, God, I still spend too much money on this shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I could have way less problems if I didn't smoke and money. So it's like, I don't know. People have a lot more control over their situations than they think. I realize though, it's not like, I'm not trying to be some fucking Bill O'Reilly, like, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, everyone's situation's different. Everybody has it harder than somebody else, for sure. And everybody has it easier than somebody else. But life is manipulatable. Manipulatable? Is that a word?
Let's go with it.
It's able to be manipulated. There's a series of inputs and switches. Steve Jobs used to talk about this, and it fucking changed my life when I heard it. And I've never bought an Apple product in my life, but I study Steve Jobs a lot. And he talked about it. He's like, my whole life changed when I just realized that life isn't something that happens to you. It's something that you're in and you're a part of, and you can affect it. And you can start doing little things, and then it'll respond to you. And you're like, whoa, what? And it's like, whoa, what if I do this? And that's why capability and learning that you're capable is dangerous. Because it's like, when he made the decision to just like, fuck this, I'm going to see if I can do it. I'm going to see if I can, apply myself and what I can actually get done with my own two hands and my own brain and my own ideas and stuff like that. Some people aren't ready for that. Some people aren't ready for the information that gives them or the kind of life that's going to give them. Because it's powerful. And power is just that. It's just power in the right way or the wrong way. And I'm always very cautious because a lot of people come up to me and they're like, yeah, I'm about to quit my job too. And I'm like, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if you should do that yet. Because I wasn't ready to. You know what I mean? I got the situation thrust upon me. But yeah, it's just one of those things that it's like, you can affect the world around you a lot more profoundly than you think. And there's a lot less going on in the world than you think. Most people are, the idea of sheeple, it is true. And it's, people like to use it in political terms or whatever, but it's just a psychological phenomenon of people do what other people do. People are looking for people to tell them what to do. Most people, the big secret of humanity is that we don't really like freedom. Mm-hmm. Most people don't do shit with their freedom. That's why freedom of speech gets infringed on all the time. And not by the government, but by other people. And nothing gets done about it because most people don't have shit to say. So it doesn't affect them. People that don't really give a fuck about freedom of speech, it's like, well, you don't have shit to say, so why would you care? But to people that do have shit to say and do have risky ideas and stuff like that, it is important that they still are able to do what they do. But also on the flip side of that, I'm sick of hearing people be like, well, there's no freedom of speech anymore. It's like, well, the government hasn't arrested anybody for saying something fucking ever, actually. Yeah. So it's like, that's just not gonna, it doesn't apply that way either. But I don't know. That's what the message I've always kind of tried to push to people is like, you can sit and bitch about the gatekeepers or everybody being cliquey or whatever your obstacle is, because we all got them. Or you can just be like, I'm going to do what I can. Because I'm not a super political person anymore. mainly because I don't fucking understand the sides of politics anymore. Like, I think everybody's kind of crazy. And who knows? We might already be at World War III by the time this podcast drops. Like, you know, that's with the shit that happened last night. Anything can happen, but
this episode might cause it. We'll see.
Well, I mean, did you hear what happened in Iraq, though?
Yep.
Like, you know, people don't understand, though, what's going on over there. This is a game that's been played for decades across continents, and the chess moves on the board, it's some shit that we can't see. And when people try to get super involved politically, and they try to get themselves all upset about what's going on in the world, or even if they talk about voting and stuff like that, or they get mad at other people for not voting, I just see the two kids at the TV and the older brother's playing video games, and it's a one-player game, and the little brother just has a controller and he just like pretends like it's a two-player game. That's like what people caring about like shit that they shouldn't be caring about looks like to me, because it's like, yeah, they're showing you something and they're letting you think you're in control, but they're playing their game right now. But everybody has their own sphere of power. Everybody has their own sphere of influence, however they have it. And it's like, focus on your own game. Focus on the game you're trying to win at. Because a lot of people are trying to beat Trump and world leaders at the Trump and world leader game, and you're always going to lose that game. Because that's the only fucking game they've been playing their whole lives. It's all they do. And it's also like, yo, all those people hang out together. Like, yo, do you think really Republicans and Democrats are, like, not sitting beside each other at these swanky-ass bars in D.C. because, like, oh, well, the Republicans are over here. No. They all went to the same fucking school. They all hang out together. They're all buddies. Like, their lives aren't any different. The real difference in party is the people in power versus the people who aren't. And so it's like, I don't know. I choose not to just sit and fucking scream at other people that are getting ass fucked by the government, just like me, and, you know, like, have different opinions than me on what to do about abortion or a ton of issues that don't even affect me. So it's like, to me, like, yo, I don't have a uterus. Why should I be involved in the abortion argument? Why should my voice matter in that? Me, I choose to talk about what the fuck I know. And the only thing I know, and the only thing I've really applied myself and dedicated myself to in my adult life is shows and local music scenes and stuff like that. I don't know how to throw shows in stadiums, so I don't fucking talk about it. I don't know, you know, that much about politics, or at least anything about politics now, so I don't fucking talk about it, you know? Because it's like, also everybody's just so fucking, not even sensitive, but like everybody feels like they're entitled to being offended. And it's like, yo, sometimes you can just hear shit that you don't like, and like you could be a fucking grown-up and just move on about it. Like, I hear shit that offends me all the time. I hear shit that's annoying all the time. And yes, it does suck, but it's like, no, it's not my natural God-given right to walk through life and never be offended or never hear a challenging idea or opinion. So, like, I'm dead in that shit. I'm not tolerating any of that shit anymore. It's like, no, people need to hear some stuff. And the truth is ugly and stuff like that. But if you say it, people gravitate towards it because it is rare. The truth is a rare thing. You don't hear it a lot from people. And that's the reason Donald Trump is so successful, is because he says what a lot of people have believed to be true for a long time, but never said out loud. And he was the first to say it. And people are like, that's my guy. Because he's saying what I think. Fuck whether it's true or not. Doesn't matter. He found a way for it to be true. Because he said what they wanted to hear. And it's like, anybody can do that with anything. You know, you can do that if you're if you do makeup tutorials on YouTube. You know what I mean? Those people have power. Logan Paul, Jake Paul, they have power. You know? And so it's like, if you want to get into this game, if you want to get into the entertainment game, the people game, the, you know, play on big stages and stuff like that game, be prepared to understand how people work and how mass psychology works and stuff like that. And be prepared to have your heart broken over and over again. Because anything dealing with people will do that. So, it's wild, man. I'm not bitter or anything, though.
Well, we're at about an hour and a half.
All right.
I think it's about to wrap up.
Yeah. We can wrap up.
Cool. I think we can end on those ideas. I think
Word.
that's a good idea.
Word.
Unless you have any.
I'm trying to think of
ideas.
I'm trying to think if I have any like plugs or anything. But
Yes, plug everything, please.
I really don't. New album will be out sometime. Probably by the time this episode comes out.
Oh yeah.
It won't be out by then, but I'll have the title and things, an actual release date for it and whatnot. I think that's it though. Honestly, I don't know. I don't come to Declassified.
Yeah, Declassified still happening.
The victories every 2 weeks.
New work still going on.
New work still going on. That'll be happening. I'll be announcing the February date for that soon.
Nice. The fucking freak show.
Or that I don't think I'm gonna make as regular.
Okay.
That's not gonna be like a monthly, because I'm trying to make that like bigger and less. I want to turn into more of a festival type thing over time.
Cool.
And then there's gonna be a lot of shows coming to a lot of new cities and whatnot. I know for a fact I'll be in Michigan in March in Ann Arbor, but you're gonna see a lot more shows in places like Chillicothe, Mount Vernon, smaller towns and stuff like that. I'm not trying to. Everybody gets caught up in the hoopla of like, well, I want to hit the big cities. I don't want to hit the major markets and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, 30 people in Cleveland is the same as 30 people in Akron. Like, it's all the fucking same. It's just people. I'm out here trying to play Moneyball. I'm not trying to get the big home runs and shit like that. I'm just trying to get on base.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if you guys have never seen Moneyball, see it. It's a great fucking movie. I don't really like sports movies a whole lot, but it's really, really brilliant. It's interesting. It's one of Brad Pitt's better movies too. But
what song was it that you wrote? The Kings of the Slow Grind?
Yeah.
I forget which song it was, but
I've referenced it in a couple different songs. But
okay.
That is kind of the concept of it. Because like in Moneyball, I'll just break it down for you real quick. There was a guy named Bill. I think his name was Bill James. He was a Japanese mathematician, and he basically had figured out a new way of recruiting players. Because he realized, he was like, okay, well, we're trying to get points, but the whole recruiting model is about who hits home runs. And it's about who's the best rounded baseball player. But Bill James, his method was like, well, no, we need to get on first base at least 8 times a game. So we're going to get 2 dudes that suck at fucking swinging a bat. They suck at catching, but they're great first basemen, or they're great at getting on first base. And they just broke it down in a math equation level of like, this is what we need to get on this base, this base, this base, to get the points we need. And it failed when he did it. But then this guy that was the owner of the Oakland A's in the early 2000s, he hired this guy that worked for the Cleveland Indians that had the same theory. And he was just like, look, I can get you this lineup that's super, super cheap, because he had no way to compete against the Yankees and the Red Sox and all that, because they had $20 million to spend on players and shit like that. Probably way more, actually. But, he had to build a baseball team with relatively little money. And so he hired this kid to do it for him, and they, I think, had an undefeated season after, like, everybody was like, they ate shit for like the first 5 games, but then once they hit their stride, they had the longest winning streak in the history of Major League Baseball. Damn. And then after that, the owner of the Oakland A's and shit, the Red Sox hired him. They were like, oh, will you come unfuck the Red Sox and show us how to save $55 million a year or whatever? But it was called Moneyball. It was a different way of recruiting and a different way of looking at the stats you actually needed to win a baseball game, and it's fucking super fascinating. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get on first base. That's all I want.
Go watch that movie. You'll become as successful as Sam Rothstein.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't wish that on anybody. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on this week, guys.
Always.
If you aren't on that mailing list, pedestrians, you don't know what's happening in the next 2 weeks. But if you are, you know exactly what's happening. So go to the link tree in our bio. Join that mailing list. You know what's up. We are scheduled interview-wise out until June. So we got plans all the way up. You'll never miss an email. It'll be cool. So we will catch you next Wednesday morning, as long as I don't spill water on my laptop.
Yeah, don't do that.
And thanks for listening this week. We'll see you next week.